This movie is guaranteed to mess with your head. Almost nobody watches it twice. And it's not because the plot is bad, it's because the ending is just too much to handle. A man comes home after a 3-month military deployment, expecting a warm embrace from his wife. Instead, he's greeted with divorce papers. Weighed down by suspicion, he starts to think his wife has found someone else. So, he sets out to uncover the truth. But as he digs deeper, the sheer terror and bizarre events he encounters go way beyond anything he could have imagined, dragging him step by step into an endless abyss. Today, we're diving into the Indonesian horror flick, Possession Times, a remake of the infamous 1981 cult classic. Let's get right into it. Right off the bat, we see a woman in a nightgown sprinting frantically down a hotel corridor. She's pale as a ghost, stumbling like she's just seen something absolutely terrifying. She rushes into her room and slams the door shut. But here's the creepy part. The second the door closes, her body starts contorting uncontrollably, and the room's lights begin to flicker. Then, just as suddenly, she calms down, walks over to the mirror, and touches up her makeup like it's no big deal. It's almost as if this isn't the first time this has happened to her. This is Ratna, a novelist. She lives in a nice apartment with her 6-year-old son, Budi. Her husband, Ferris, is in the Navy, so he's often away for months at a time. Logically, with her husband coming home today, Ratna should be thrilled. But her reaction is completely off. She gets dressed up bright and early to take her son to the pier. But right before they leave, Budi spots a document on the table. It's a divorce agreement. The kid is confused. If mom is divorcing dad, why are they going to pick him up? Ratna doesn't explain. She just silently packs up the papers and heads out the door. Soon enough, Ferris finishes his deployment and is finally back. He's over the moon to see his son, but when he looks at his wife, he instantly knows something is wrong. Ratna keeps her distance, showing zero excitement. She won't even let him get close. Sensing the awkward vibe, Ferris's colleague hands them some movie tickets, hoping the couple can just chill out. But this movie night completely crushes Ferris. In the dark theater, he tries to get a little cozy, but the second he reaches out, Ratna coldly pushes his hand away. Before he can even process it, she drops the bomb. "I want a divorce." Faris is completely blindsided. He doesn't get it. He works his ass off. They have a house, a car, and she has a quiet place to write. Why isn't she satisfied? On the way home, they bump into their nosy neighbor, Tony. Once Ratna and Budi are out of earshot, Tony leans in and whispers, "When you're not around." She sneaks out in the middle of the night. Those words pierce Ferris like a knife. Sure enough, once they get home, they get into a massive blowout. Ferris demands to know why she's acting so cold. Ratna simply replies that this isn't the life she wants. Ferris isn't having it. He feels he's provided a great life, and she should just focus on being a good wife and mother. But that was never what Ratna wanted. Just as she's about to walk out, Faris physically stops her. After a tense standoff, Ratna stays, saying they'll talk about the divorce tomorrow. That night, Ferris tries to patch things up, but Ratna shoots him down, claiming it's her time of the month. He's willing to let it slide, but when he goes to the bathroom, he notices the trash can is completely empty. It hits him. His wife is lying. The anger boils over instantly. Faris is convinced that the real reason for this sudden divorce is another man. Hearing his parents fight, Budi hides in his room, terrified. Once Faris leaves, little Budi creeps out to comfort his mom. But Ratna's pain clearly isn't something a simple hug can fix. The next morning, Ratna is gone again. Shortly after, there's a knock at the door. It's Ratna's assistant, Mita. On the surface, she's there to take Budi to school, but the way she looks at Ferris totally crosses a line. She casually mentions that Ratna has been writing somewhere else lately, a place arranged by her magazine's editor-in-chief. She drops this nugget of info just casually enough to fuel Ferris's growing paranoia. Could her sudden demand for a divorce, the late-night outings, and the hotel writing sessions really be tied to this editor? After Mita leaves, Tony comes knocking again. He tells Faris that when he saw Ratna leaving in the wee hours of the morning, it looked like a dark shadow was trailing her. Tony suspects she isn't cheating, She's being haunted. Being a military man, Ferris doesn't buy this crap. He kicks Tony out. But neither of them notices that for a split second, the white throw pillow in the bedroom morphs into a withered, mummified human face. Before leaving, Tony forces a magazine on Ferris, claiming it holds the answers. Ferris tosses it aside. He doesn't care about ghosts. He wants to find the guy his wife is sleeping with. Determined to uncover the truth, he turns the place upside down and finally finds photos of Ratna and the editor, along with a hotel brochure. He decides to hire a private investigator to tail the guy. Later that evening, Faris comes home to find Mita and Booty waiting at the door. Feeling a bit guilty, he tells her he'll get her a spare key. He then heads into the bathroom, venting about what he did wrong. He provides for his family, so why is Ratna treating him like this? Hearing this, Mita boldly steps into the bathroom. She tells him that maybe Ratna just needs a little thrill. Right on cue, she reaches for Faris's collar. Just as the tension peaks, Booty suddenly pops in. Ferris snaps back to reality, pushes Mita away, and takes his son to get a bath. While bathing him, Ferris asks if Mom has been acting weird lately. Booty says she always goes for walks alone, and when she comes back, she locks herself in the bedroom. At that very moment, dark red stains begin to ooze through the ceiling. Terrified, Booty shrinks into the water, but Ferris can't see a thing. Right then, Ratna walks in. Seeing the actual wife show up, Mita quickly makes an excuse and bails. Faris and Ratna get right back into fighting. Booty hides in the corner, staring at the stains on the ceiling. It's like he knows exactly what's coming, and he starts counting down. The second he hits 0, Ratna's body begins convulsing violently. She moves in freaky, unnatural ways, like a puppet on a string. Then boom, the power cuts out. The room is pitch black. The only sound is Ratna's agonizing groans. Ferris scrambles to light a candle and finds his wife sitting on the floor, pale and drained. Seconds later, she passes out. He carries her to bed, and for the first time, doubt creeps in. What if Tony was telling the truth? Just as he's about to go to sleep, he catches a glimpse in the mirror that white throw pillow literally sits up on its own. Faris snaps his head around, but the pillow is back to normal. He chalks it up to nerves, but in the middle of the night, Ratna starts making those weird noises again. Ferris flips on the light and sees her clutching that pillow for dear life, her face a twisted mix of pain and pure ecstasy. He snatches the pillow and throws it under the bed, which finally calms her down. Not long after, the PI calls. The editor spends most of his time hanging around that hotel. This seals the deal for Ferris. He storms back into the bedroom and unleashes a tirade on his sleeping wife. He steps into the bathroom, totally oblivious to the fact that Ratna has slowly gotten out of bed. Hearing a noise, Ferris assumes she's sneaking out again and chases after her. But Ratna hasn't left the house. Defying gravity, she is hanging upside down from the ceiling of their own home. Faris soon meets up with the PI, gets the editor's room number, and bursts into the hotel, ready to catch them red-handed. While riding the elevator, a creepy old lady shuffles in. She keeps muttering, "She's here, she's here." The elevator lights flicker. When the doors open, the old lady has vanished into thin air. It gives Faris the creeps, but he has bigger fish to fry. He forces his way into the editor's room, only to find the guy completely alone, obsessively reading Ratna's novel. Ferris trashes the room but comes up empty. The editor even mocks him, saying he doesn't know the first thing about his own wife. Faris manages to hold back his punches and walks out, but when he gets home, he finds an unconscious Ratna lying in the bathtub. She's hugging that white pillow, her body covered in terrifying marks. Ferris is completely losing his grip on reality. He carries her back to bed and goes to ask Booty what the hell just happened. But Booty is deeply traumatized. He just covers his ears and refuses to speak. Sometime later, Ferris falls asleep in his son's room. Meanwhile, Ratna is standing by the window, looking completely normal. She changes into a blood-red dress, grabs a red umbrella, and steps out into the pouring rain. She hops into a cab. Seeing her dressed up, the driver gets some dirty ideas. Just as he reaches over to grope her, a dark shadow suddenly manifests in the back seat, glaring dead at him. The driver panics, and tries to bail, but the doors are jammed tight. Moments later, he is pushed over the edge by an unseen force and is killed on the spot. Through it all, Ratna doesn't even blink, practically dancing her way into the hotel. The PI spots her and immediately trails her. He presses his ear to her door, listening to heavy breathing coming from inside. Just as he's getting an earful, the door suddenly flies open. Ratna knew he was out there the whole time. The PI lies, claiming he's hotel maintenance. He looks around, no secret lover anywhere. Sitting on the bed, Ratna says ice cold, "I know exactly who sent you." With his cover blown, the PI drops the act, grabs his camera, and starts aggressively snapping photos of her, getting some truly scumbag ideas in his head. Right then, water starts running in the bathroom. Thinking the lover is hiding in there, the PI pushes the door open. All he finds is a puddle of black ooze. That same phantom silently manifests right in front of him. Needless to say, the PI never makes it out of that room. Back at the house, Ferris is jolted awake by a few drops of blood. He looks up and finally sees the dark red stains spreading across the ceiling. He runs to the bedroom. Ratna is gone again. Running out of options, Ferris goes to Tony for help. Tony inspects the place and finds strange hairs in the room. He tells Forrest that Ratna has been cursed. To save her, he has to find the source of the black magic. Desperate, Faris tears the house apart. His hard work pays off when he stumbles upon an old VHS tape. In the footage, Mita tells Ratna she's always had a thing for Faris, boldly asking to borrow him for a night. Ratna shuts her down, but Mita won't take no for an answer, saying she could offer something way more stimulating in exchange. Watching this, it all clicks. The mastermind pulling the strings is none other than Mita. He tries calling the PI, no answer, so he makes a mad dash for the hotel himself. Meanwhile, the editor has tracked Ratna down. He's itching to see what happens next in her novel and keeps hounding her to keep writing. He has no clue that what he's pushing isn't her creative spark, but the dark entity living inside her. Just as he pushes her into a corner, a switch flips in Ratna's eyes, and she makes him pay the ultimate price. Just as Faris pulls up to the hotel, a body plummets from above, smashing right onto a car roof. It's the editor. Faris sprints upstairs. In the elevator, that creepy old lady is back, repeating, "She's here." This time, Faris finally snaps and yells, "Who is she?" The old lady doesn't answer. The lights flicker, and she's gone again. Faris barges into the room, only to find the pillow from their house sitting right there, with Ratna passed out on the floor. He scoops up his wife and races home. In the car, looking at Ratna, completely battered and broken, Faris doesn't feel anger, just pure heartbreak. He finally realizes that all his suspicions might have been dead wrong from the start. Back home, he cleans her up, but when Ratna wakes up, she still fights him tooth and nail, willing to hurt herself rather than stay married to him. Out of options, Faris calls Tony back. Following Tony's instructions, Faris straps Ratna to the bed, prepping for an exorcism. Just as the ritual kicks off, there's a knock at the door. It's Mita and Booty. One look at the creepy setup, and Mita tries to bolt. But Faris yanks her inside by the collar, demanding to know what she did to his wife. Mita finally caves. She admits she was the one who unleashed the entity, but the kicker is, she only knows how to summon it, not how to banish it. To make matters worse, the thing wasn't even there to help her. Once released, it just started following its own nature, devouring anyone harboring dark desires. Desperate to save Ratna, Faris literally offers himself up as a sacrifice. But in the next split second, the demon jumps right into Mita's body. Mita tears out of the room, running into the rain-soaked streets, contorting in bizarre ways until she completely snaps and drops dead. Meanwhile, Tony, who was supposed to be exorcising Ratna, shows his true colors. It turns out he doesn't know the first thing about exorcisms. All his spooky psychic talk was just a scam to get his hands on Ratna. Luckily, Faris rushes in just in time and violently yanks Tony off her. But as he's beating the living crap out of Tony, Ratna is levitated off the bed by an invisible force. The candles blow out instantly. By the time Faris gets a light going again, Ratna has vanished without a trace. Tony then gets possessed by the entity, staggering out of the bedroom like a monster and repeatedly bashing his own head against the wall. Seeing this, Faris completely loses it and decides to finish the job for him. But once Tony hits the floor, those dark red stains bleed through the ceiling once more, and from the bedroom, Ratna's voice echoes out. Ferris walks in and finally gets a clear look at the demon tormenting his wife. It's not your standard ghost. It looks more like a grotesque monster born out of pure lust and resentment. Suddenly, the scene shifts. Ferris finds himself in a place that feels like a cross between a theater stage and a movie house. He's strapped into a seat in the audience, surrounded by the dead. The cab driver, the PI, the editor, Mita, and Tony. None of them were innocent. They were all driven by greed, voyeurism, betrayal, or just using helping out as an excuse to satisfy their own twisted urges. Ultimately, Ratna stands center stage, raises a gun, and aims it dead at Ferris. A single gunshot rings out, and Ferris becomes the final audience member in this living nightmare. In the end, only Ratna and her son Booty make it out alive. Some say it's because Booty is just an innocent kid, free from any filthy desires. Others argue it was the last shred of Ratna's maternal instinct kicking in to protect her boy. But what really sends shivers down your spine is the thought that maybe the demon wasn't just picking targets at random. It was carefully selecting people, cherry-picking those who already had demons hiding inside their own hearts. That's the most chilling part about time's possession. Sometimes, when a person is consumed by the need for control, dragged down by jealousy, and led astray by dark desires, they can twist into something completely unrecognizable.